What's going on, everybody? It's SJG. Welcome to HBCU Game Day. We have a very special guest for you guys. We wanted to make sure you guys are getting ready for the college football season. And obviously, we're now in August. And so the real football has started. But actually, college football season kicked off for a couple weeks early with the release of college football 2025. And we have the one and only Marlu Tha Kang. You guys may remember him from back in 2020, way back when the pandemic started, and he burst onto the scene with his NBA 2K, with his NBA 2K designs of HBCUs and NBA players, and now we've actually got a college football game for him to mod. So, Marlu, what's going on, man? How's everything going with you?
Thank you for having me first and foremost. Happy to be here. I'm happy to talk with you again, my friend. But everything's going good though. Everything's copacetic. Just real blessed, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, for those of you who don't know, again, Marlu began to. So, how long have you been into gaming and more specifically modding the HBCUs onto the athletic video games?
Man, first of all, I've been waiting for this to come out since like 2000. What was the last one? 2014.
Yeah, so
something like that.
Right.
So this has been like when I first heard the announcement, like the trailer came out like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I was already like, yeah, man, it's going down like ASAP. And then I saw the closer it got to the date, the more anxious and the more I was anticipating. So I think you did see the tweet, or you liked my tweet when they showed it, the team builder portion. I was like, yeah, you already know what kind of time I want to be on when it releases. And day one when it dropped, and I was told that the beta was live, I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get on that. So anytime I get a chance to design anything in the game, let alone HBCUs, but just designing in general, and there's a space for it, I'm on it. So I've been doing this now for a minute, anticipating for a while now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Guys, please go ahead and like the stream. It helps the algorithm and everything as we, continue to talk with Marlu Tha Kang. He has put his stamp once again on the athletic video game world with the release of College Football 2025. Yeah, man, just like you, I've been waiting on this game for a minute. I know last time we talked a lot about the obviously the NBA stuff, but how long have you been playing the game formerly known as college football, the college football series?
Ever since its inception, honestly. Like I remember getting the game back like PS2 days.
Right.
And this was like when it was such a big deal to the point where there was no social media like that. So we would actually go out after school or during schools and be trying like to trade off roster names, and we'll go home and dust off the memory cards and make sure that we have everything lined up on the list to see we have everything that's going on like that corresponds with the regular rosters. So PlayStation days and Xbox days, and like I said, 2014 was the last time, and then a decade later, here we are again. So it brings up a lot of nostalgia back into the fold years later. And I have to say, like, it's been it's been fun. Like, it's almost, all my expectations, it's been lived up to the hype so far. So yeah.
Yeah. Nah, man, you make really great points. Like you say, it definitely is a lot of nostalgia for it. I think for me, the first one that I really got into might have been the one with Joey Harrington on it with 2000. I think that's 2003. So with the PlayStation 2, definitely, grew up being more of a Madden guy, but when I was younger, I was more of a Madden guy. But as I got a little bit older, got a little closer to college football kind of appealed to me. And so, yeah, it's just been a long time, coming. Obviously, early on, the HBCUs were in the game. There was no team builder or anything like that, and you couldn't really modify the teams. It was more so modifying the players because HBCUs were definitely always kind of at the bottom of it. But
Yeah.
just talk about how have you been getting your college football fix prior to 2025? Because I know for me, I have gone back to I bought a PlayStation back during the pandemic. Actually, I bought a PlayStation 2 and went back to some of the games that actually had HBCUs on it. I think 2004. I got 2004, 2005. A lot of those in those years. How have you been getting, or had you been getting your college football fix? Did you go the super nostalgia route and go get those older systems?
It's funny you mentioned that too. I was over at my parents' house about 2 weeks ago, actually, and me and my brother was just digging through the storage area, and lo and behold, I found my N64, and I found my PlayStation 2, and I had my college football game. I want to say, I don't want to get the year wrong, but it was the one that had what's my man's quarterback for Oregon. He was on.
Yeah, Joey Harrington. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the one I had as well. So I didn't get a chance to plug it in. It's still at my parents' crib actually. But I think what's stopping me is the fact that I can't find a memory card. So I might have to go on like eBay or Amazon or something like that to get that. But aside from that though, just having that feeling where I can go back and just play games like that again, especially with trying to fill that gap with the lack of HBCUs. Really, I just been kind of I would see go on Twitch, or I would go on YouTube and see some content creators, mod some things on even Madden, or just bring up like some older retro gaming and just kind of live through their experiences like that and being like, I remember that. Like I remember, there was a time. But for the most part, I've always tried to keep my, keep abreast on, what's going on in that particular space. So, like I said, shout out to the other creators as well that's keeping that going, keeping that alive for, just casual fans like me, because I consider myself a casual fan. That's definitely, always interested in the next best thing, or how to push, how to, keep that push along so other people can be aware that, the HBCUs in particular need to be, recognized, especially in the gaming space.
Yeah, man. We're talking with Marlu Tha Kang. He is the amateur extraordinaire of college of video games. Yeah, man. Let's get right to it. I know. I was one of the people that got the game 3 days early, and then I realized Team Builder wasn't going to be there, and I was like, man, I could have saved it, but I felt like I still needed the time. And then I was on the road, and I couldn't play it for the first 3 days, but I still, was excited. So, I mean, they're making huge money off of it. There are no HBCUs on there, which kind of leaves a lane for folks like yourself to really get out there and get creative. I know I talked to some of the players at the media days, and they were excited about it. A lot of those guys, they haven't had a chance to play it since, they were, not even, 10 years old. So without any further ado, let's go to some of the designs just kind of talk about it. We'll go to some of your designs here. We'll just kind of start from the bottom. So for those of you who don't know, Marlu is he is a Fayetteville State graduate, correct?
I attended Fayetteville State. I haven't graduated.
Well, you're an alumnus. They'll take your money as an alumnus. So
I know that's right.
You're an alumnus. So we see you uploaded here on July 19th. First, you gave the Broncos. You gave them. They got the first dibs. I get it. I don't really care if they got a nice. They got a nice. Talk to me about this uniform. It doesn't seem like a lot, but how difficult on a scale of 1 to 10 was putting this one together, with it being the new subset.
Yeah, so like I said, Team Builder, to my understanding, is still in this beta state, so it's still like working out a lot of the kinks with that program. It really wasn't that difficult to construct. I know a lot of my peers were saying how they had issues trying to even like save it or line designs up from their creations and stuff like that. But for me, this one actually wasn't that difficult to make. I probably say like it did, since it was the first one, it did take me a while to line everything up. But in comparison to like my the ones I created after this one, I probably give this one a light 6 as far as difficulty goes. And also with this one, it was also the me starting off and trying to work out all the kinks. I didn't really get a good look on the newest or the latest, I should say, latest uniform that they wear right now. So this is actually like considered like a throwback. I think they wore these back in the 2021-22 season. And you know, I did get a lot of positive feedback from this one, just because, you know, this is the start. This is like, oh my gosh, like Fayetteville State's in the game, like, you know, good stuff. Like we appreciate it. So yeah, this was definitely like, you know, the kickstart to you know, what I've been doing since then. And yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, all right. So then you automatically upgraded right here. Let's just be honest. You know, you got the Winston-Salem State in the whites. You know, real fresh. Shout out to my girl April Reed. I just interviewed her last night on as she kind of designed uniforms. Another uniform that's, you know, nothing too extravagant, it looks like, but I know at the same time about you were doing this, I was trying to do my version of WSSU, and for me, it was the tough thing was getting the script on the jersey. Was that kind of the same thing for you? I had to go to some photos that I actually took, and I had to like take them. I had to actually take them and write around and basically erase around the white. You know, try to cut them out as best I could. It came out pretty clean. But I mean, yours, I mean, obviously came out really great. And appreciate you for the tag too. But yeah, even down to the gloves. Yeah, man. You know, how would you grade that one difficulty wise, or just, you know, the intricacies in that one?
I got real lucky with the gloves. I have a bone to pick with EA. I spoke about this a few days ago on Twitter as well. Like you would think that. Well, let me go back. So whenever you're making the team on Team Builder, it gives you 3 choices of what brand you want to select for that team. Either it's going to be Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour. And so you would think that whatever brand that you pick, the accessories, the gloves, the shoes especially, would match up with the brand that you choose.
Right.
I got incredibly fortunate on Winston-Salem State that everything had matched up. But as of late, like I would make like an Adidas one or Under Armour one, and it always shows up as Nike. I'm like, man, that's not as, I don't like that. But I would say the hardest thing with this one probably be is always trying to find the right font. That's important to me. So that's like, what if I find that, then I know I'm going the right directions, and I can just push on from there. That's probably honestly like the most difficult part of most of the things that I design. It's just finding the font. I usually just try to take a picture, and I go to a lot of font finder sites to try to find to get the right ones. Those usually help me a lot. And then like I just kind of take I take either a program like Photoshop or whatever and erase the backgrounds. I think you actually have a better, more fortunate case than me, because you say you actually have like pictures that you took, like live pictures. So like me, I actually have to like go the font finder route, and sometimes they don't have what I'm looking for. So even with that being said, I just find the closest font that I can, and I got to kind of like manually manipulate the letters and make them how I want to make them. Which actually funny as you mentioned that. I'm doing that right now as we speak. This next school that I'm trying to do, hopefully I have it done by tonight, is I'm trying to do Central State. And
Okay.
I realized they have instead of having the last names on the back of their jerseys, they actually have the team name Marauders.
Right, Marauders, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the font's like really hard to find. So I'm working on trying to like manipulate the font right now to make sure that it's correctly. That's like the one thing I take pride in. I take pride in trying to make sure that all my things are like legitimized. Everything is good to go. It's as authentic looking as I can make it. And truth be told, what I do as well, like if you go on the game, the college football game, what I do is I go on the database because a prime example is like FAMU, like 1,000,001 people like made FAMU, and maybe only like I can count maybe like 2 or 3 that made them like legitly the correct way. But I take pride in like the little intricacies or like the little accents that people kind of overlook, like whether it be the field or it may be like the font, the size of the font, the color aesthetics, those things like matter to me. Like I guess it's true. What they say about like certain artists, like people might appreciate your art from the outside looking in, but I'm kind of a perfectionist in that regard. Like I'm not satisfied until like I know that I did the best that I could on certain things and it's legit. But the biggest compliments that I've gotten are like from like athletes and coaches. Like those personnel kind of gave me the stamp as like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing a good job. That's really what keeps me going with this. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I was talking with Marlu Tha Kang. I pulled up the FAMU unis. And one thing about FAMU folks, they will let you know what they think. And obviously, a lot of folks, like you said, they created them to defending national champions, and they got a lot of excitement around them. But yeah, man, I love the details. And when you're going through, like, I know a lot of us are kind of going in and like doing kind of trying some custom things and everything. But I think you're kind of really focused on getting the authenticity of what they actually have. Right now, that's kind of like your focus, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, exactly.
And then you get something like this. You spend all this time to do this uniform, and Bluefield State, and then Bluefield State comes out, and like 3 days later, they bring out some new jerseys.
Yeah, my cousin actually put me on to that information too because he's a graduate from there, and he was like, "Yeah, man, like." Don't hate me. I'm like, what you mean? He was like, yeah, they're gonna go back and change your whole fit. I'm like, what? So I got to go back and see if I can squeeze the current ones in while maintaining those because I try to consider things from like a fan or a casual player's point of view because to me you can never go wrong with like having like a whole like different options, especially with like throwback options. I think, and this is just me, my opinion, and I hope by me saying this, I don't turn people off with this, but I feel like just based on what I've seen in the game so far, and this is not me saying that like black uniforms aren't fire because I'll be a fool to suggest otherwise. Like I love me a nice black uniform, but I feel like a lot of people like use black uniforms as like a cop out. Sometimes.
Okay. So, I like it. Hot takes. Okay.
Like to me, it's like it's just too easy and too simple. I feel like even though I love me a black uniform, some of the best uniforms that I own are actually black. But it just seems like a cop out to me because it's like you can just be so much more creative if you just go and do like a little more research and try to really cater to the actual like school colors aesthetic as best as you can. Or if they don't already have an existing black uniform, then you don't got to go so much into that. Like I really, again, to your point, I try to be as authentic as I can be, and I take pride in that. And I think people appreciate that whenever I'm doing projects, like this. So that's my take on that.
Okay. I like that. Let us know in the chat. What do you guys think? Black uniforms, a cop out. I'm kind of interested. I might have to agree. So let us know what you think about going on. So we got Livingstone College, the Blue Bears with the blue field. Not to be confused with Bluefield State, who we just talked about, and they're both in the CIAA. But talk about these uniforms. So these guys, last year, Livingstone, they were like the last CIAA team to transition to Under Armour. And look, last year, man, they came out the gate swinging. They brought out the Livingstone a couple years back, and then they brought out two of them. I don't think they should be allowed to wear. I don't think they should be allowed. And I told their president this. I don't think they should be allowed to wear these jerseys on this field. I think that's atrocious, and it's an advantage. But neither here nor there. Talk to me about this design. Anything that stood out with you about this one?
Well, I tend to agree with you on that too, especially if it's like fields that are not traditionally like, the green fields and whatnot. I feel like 100% that's an advantage, but that's for coaches and, staff to weigh in on that for game days. But Livingstone's, I feel like with their particular black uniforms, shout out to Mark. Like I said, I'm not opposed to black uniforms whenever they're done right. I'm just speaking on the perspective of if a team doesn't already have a black uniform in stock, and you're like, oh, I'm going to make this black because I have no other ideas to use. Then that's that, and you can see it. Like it's not like I'm rejecting the idea of any team having a black uniform. That's not what I'm saying, man. I'm saying just, if you don't have any other ideas, and you're like, I gotta make a third or a fourth alternate. You know what? I'm gonna make it black, and it just doesn't clash right. It doesn't agree with like the eyes like that. That's what I'm saying. But it's another point. Boise State's the same way. I think there's another school up there with a red field too. But anyway,
Washington, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yep. They have a red field. Clearly an advantage. But I got sidetracked for a little bit. But going back to these uniforms, Livingstone, I think these are actually one of my favorites, honestly. Just not only just because of the field aspect of it, but just I think this is one of my first schools that I've done that had like a legitimate alternate uniform, and also the first uniform that I did that had Blue Bears on the back of the nameplate, because I remember doing them, and I had some people ask me like, "How'd you do that, man? Like, how are you able to get the names of the team in the back of the uniforms, and we can't mess with roster names?" I'm like, no, that's a separate layer, and I think it's actually pretty cool that you have teams like that does that. I think, like I was telling you a few minutes ago, I'm doing Central State Marauders. It's the same method. So doing things like that is kind of fun to do, especially me knowing that a lot more people that's going to be doing schools like I'm doing, but they don't have like the foresight to include that in the back. I take pride in that. So Livingstone, props to them. I had a real good time doing those.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know you're a uniform guy, and so I know that's really what you focus on. I have to take the time out. There are some folks out here, let's just be honest, there's the uniforms, which I think that's the thing about not having the HBCUs on there or the FCS schools, is that it's kind of like the Wild Wild West a little bit. Everybody just everybody's like rating their squad, like everybody's like an 85 or something like that. I know you're a uniform guy, so I get it. And you're trying to get it out there. How do you feel about? Well, first of all, everybody has to start off with a certain kind of build, right? Yes. And the lowest you can get is a cupcake. My personal opinion, I think everybody that's an HBCU for the most part should be a cupcake. and then there should probably be some variances in there for standout players, and obviously not saying that the lowest placed team in the SIAC is equal to FAMU or anything like that, but I mean some of these ratings I've seen out here, we got some HBCUs out here that are rated higher than some P4 schools, man, and it's like I know y'all want to play against them, but there's that end of it. Maybe we'll collab the next time on some ratings. What I did when I created mine was I just literally I did everybody a cupcake, and then like I'll think of like maybe depending on the team, maybe 5 to 6 players that have outstanding attributes, and I'll kind of boost them up a little bit and kind of make it work. But yeah, it's that's definitely interesting. As we move along in the CIAA, Johnson C. Smith, you and I talked a little bit about this. Johnson C. Smith, along with Livingstone, the 2 oldest football programs in HBCU sports. And it looks like Johnson C. Smith went back to the uniforms they had when they were Biddle and they went to go play Livingstone in 1892. Shout out to JCSU. Shout out to the SID Aurelia, and my guy Wiley Pitt does a great job covering them as football. I give Johnson C. Smith a lot of grief. I'm a Ram, that's what I'm going to do. But
supposed to do that.
The uniforms are kind of we kind of talked about it. They went very minimalist. Let's say that.
Okay, that was the word I was looking for before. Thank you. Minimalist. Yep, I agree. And that was one of the first schools that I said as well. Just the fact that I felt like that's actually another school that I would say was that gave me a nice challenge, because, and I'm talking mostly about the sleeves on there. I pride myself really if I can make a uniform and not having to go to any outside source and just kind of make it for myself. I only really reach out whenever I can't find a source. But if I can try to make it from scratch, I feel like that's my way of just saying how much I care, as far as making sure things are as authentic as I can be. But going back to what I was saying before about the older uniforms, I feel like Johnson C. Smith's older uniforms that they had just had a lot more personality with them. So after seeing it in the game, I had to kind of take a step back and was like, not to pat myself in the back, but I did that, but I feel like a lot of teams are taking a much more minimalist approach as well. And like I said, it's neither here nor there. It's just my opinion. I just feel like, especially with HBCUs, like that was really the biggest draw with me. It's just seeing how different the culture is as far as just like uniforms go. I mean, it was everything in it, man. Like between like the uniforms, the branding, the bands, all that. So that was a big thing with me. Like I wish, they would just kind of like, I don't have the keys or obviously or the pull to say, you should keep this. No, but I feel like it's
well, you don't, but then you also do have alternates that you can, tinker with. Mm-hmm. I would say for Johnson C. Smith, man, I could see a alternate with a little bit more personality. It maybe says Smith, Mm-hmm. Our guy, or something representing Beatty's Ford. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Oh yeah.
You got. Yeah. So maybe that'll be your next iteration of it. Kind of finding your own unique spin to put on things. I think that's pretty fun with HBCUs, especially knowing everybody has a personality. As we go further on in the CIAA, we got ECSU. With these, was this kind of straightforward? Was this time consuming? Like where does this grade?
Definitely time consuming. Because everything's not given to you in the game, right? Like, or not in the game, but in the program. They actually have a set of different kind of designs you can use without you having to make anything on your own, as far as like sleeves or collars or things of that nature. So I actually had to create the layers that have those the side stripes or the front stripes, I should say. the away jerseys was the most difficult out of that particular school, and making sure I got that right. So I would say on a grade from like 1 to 10, 10 being the most difficult, I'd probably give that like give it an 8. Just from the sleeve perspective. Because that definitely took some time to kind of figure out as well, just trying to make sure I had everything the right way and made sure that it fit within the program so it can look the correct way. And by the way, the most difficult part about doing these uniforms, because you only have but so many slots for layers you can put on a uniform, is trying to make sure that you can get the most out of one layer, get the most out of any layer, so you can put the most art onto a creation without going over. So that's really my biggest challenge. So that and trying to find the right fonts are the two biggest challenges I have whenever I'm doing any uniform.
Right. Yeah,
so
you talk about that. You talk about that. We as the one example we got on here. I know you said Lincoln had a lot, and 10 layers wasn't going to be enough. And you kind of had to work for it. But yeah, man, that that is another example. But you work through it, and then you come through with this, man. I mean, I gotta say, this looks pretty. This looks great, man. It looks spot on over with the Lincoln University.
Appreciate it.
With the Lincoln Lions, but yeah, and I think you said you couldn't even include all the uniforms.
Yeah, I wish I really wish that I could, but and that's kind of the biggest challenge too. I feel even though I try to get as close as I can, there's still some things where I feel a little bit restricted based on how I want to approach different schools. Like I was telling you before about Benedict. That took all the 10 layers for me to do. And then come to find out that I missed out on a perfect opportunity to include the purple helmet with the lion stripes on it. But the way that the program set up on it, the stripe that I have on there currently took like anything 1, 2, 3, like 4 layers just to do that one helmet. So I had to make a decision at that point and say, okay, I have to sacrifice something. Something has to give. So I try to make sure that I think of what people would gravitate towards the most. Because again, I always try to put myself in the perspective of, if I'm playing this I'm trying to like wait for me to put something out there. Like, how would I approach, this? Or what would I appreciate the most out of, selecting this particular school or particular team? So I try to see everything like from a 360 point of view and go from there.
Yeah, no doubt. As we go to Shaw, another school that uses, I think the garnet is their color that they call it. Another shade of maroon. Yeah, I hate maroon. I hate maroon.
Obvious reason.
I think a lot of HBCUs use a version of it. But
yeah.
I think that's kind of, it's so heavily, especially over in this part of the country too. So you got those guys. You went up to Bowie State.
I'm proud of this one too. And specifically, the challenge on this one was the sleeves for the black jerseys. I couldn't find any image at all where I could just like grab it and just paste it and do what I got to do. I actually had to freehand and do this one myself on Photoshop. So
wow.
That it took a little bit to get that pattern correctly, but when I figured it out, I was like, yeah, this like sometimes, man.
You was himothy after that. He was himothy after that.
Yeah, like I don't want to get in my preaching bag right quick, but it was like, it's like once you get something you excited about it and you just want to like shout real quick, and it's like, yeah, like, and I'm talking about I got up like I stayed up for a while trying to figure that out. And when I finally got it down pat, I was just like, yeah, woo, I got it.
And this man is not just not just a streamer full time. This is something that he does, you know, in his spare time. So you know, yeah, you know, definitely, man, gotta love the effort, man. I wish I would have known, man. I think I got a photo of them from some CIAA championships that probably would have helped you out. But you know, hey, then you wouldn't know that you could do it. So here we go.
Yeah, it's all and that's the other takeaway too, man. Like, and not to sound cliche and nothing like that, but it's like every time I do one of these schools, it's always like education. Like I'm always learning something, or always like I'm always trying to push myself. And this is coming from somebody, honestly, like if you look at me and think that I'm like, you know, I'm an expert at this, like no way. Like this is all just coming from the this is all coming from like just the love of doing it. Like when I first started doing uniforms back, you know, like you said, I was putting out 2K content, and I made my whole Instagram like dedicated just putting out jerseys that I like to create, and it even rings true to today. Like I don't post as much as I used to, but I do it because, you know, I love it. I like doing it. I like challenging myself. I like seeing other people's reactions whenever I do things like this. And you know, I feel like if people have, you know, some creativity to share with the world, or they feel like they can contribute a little bit, then why not, you know, show it off? And so the case with this, you know, I feel like people not only appreciate the fact that I'm doing these, but just the time and effort going with this without like any kind of like, you know, I feel like I get just as much out of me doing these as the consumer does, because it just makes me feel like, you know, yeah, like let's recognize, you know, talent where it is. And, you know, it's always like, I'm always learning. I'm always being willing to be educated and educating others too. So, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. As we look over at Virginia Union, you know, like I said, and I am on record, I do hate maroon. But I gotta give it to them, man. I like their uniforms, and man, you nailed it. Especially the chrome, especially when I'm sorry, what's the correct term? But the chrome helmet. I think you nailed these. I think this is another one though. I think they have. You probably ran out of layers with them or options, because I don't know if you saw, they also had they wore it one year for the playoffs where they had like an all maroon jersey. Yeah, so that's pretty fire.
I think I've seen those. I think so. I got to go back because
I got the photo for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that.
Yeah, I got you. We're gonna make that happen. But yeah, the VUU scale of 1 to 10, man. They're more intricate than some of the others. But how about this one?
I get excited as well anytime I get a chance to use chrome. I think when done right, chrome helmets are pleasing to the eye. And I'm glad that I took a screenshot of like using them in the night game as well. But I would put these on the same lines as Elizabeth City. It's always a challenge trying to get the side panels or the side stripes. Shout out to G-Man. That was my old nickname too. Shout out G-Man. But those are always a challenge for me to do as well. I won't go as far to say that I have a strong dislike for maroon. That's a story for another day. But I like the way these came out as well. But I will also give them. I forgot about the pants too. Like that was also a nice little challenge as well. Getting the stripes of the pants, and making sure that I had the right.
This part or the
go back to the homes, I'm sorry, the aways, the white pants.
The white pants.
Yes.
The union.
So again, that just goes back. I just attribute that to just, you know, attention to detail. So as much as I can get into that, that like the casual player may kind of overlook, I'm always trying to to really knock that out. Small accents or just things that I know that like if I'm making these and I know like a former player or a current player is looking at these and like in the back of my mind, I know they're thinking to themselves like, well, I know he didn't include this part of the uniform. Oh snap, he did include the part. Hey, I'd be like, yeah, yep, I'm peeping. I got you. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And as we get to, I think, the close of the CIAA, we got VSU. So these are the jerseys that I think got your most hits from the CIAA. And obviously, our guy Wale, quote tweeted you and gave you and did a nod to your unis because he went to VSU. Yeah, man. Just these unis. What about? I mean, scale of 1 to 10. What stood out to you about these?
This may not be a big thing to the listener or the viewer, but those are the first times where I had to like kind of tinker around with trying to get the collar the correct way. Going back to Team Builder, there are certain brands to where you can update and you can upgrade certain parts of the uniform, whether it be the collar sleeves or a certain type of font with the numbers. With Under Armour's, with those particular uniforms, there was no option for the collar. So I had to kind of like tinker around and figure out how to construct a nice collar situation within Photoshop. So I already had the side panels right above the Under Armour logo figured out from the previous jerseys. But when I found that collar, it kind of made it stand out more. And so it was a nice challenge for me to try to figure it out as well. I also give it a solid 7 as far as just difficulty goes. Outside of that, I would say the most difficult part for this uniform would be the helmets. Just trying to make sure I had got the helmets correct, because if I understand correctly, the logo, I want to say I did like a chrome logo on it, but I did like a matted helmet overall color, so it kind of made it stand out a little bit more, like in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, I give it that.
Yeah, man. Definitely. So all right, so we're gonna get your opinion. What's the out of all the CIAA schools, who's got the best? Who have your favorite uniforms?
I know the popular answer is going to be Winston-Salem State, but just to avoid brownie points with you, I would say my and I don't want to go with Fayetteville State because I think that's just an easy cop out on my end. I have a bias, so I would probably have to go with I'd probably have to go with Johnson C. Smith, to be honest with you, the throwbacks.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I would definitely go with Johnson C. Smith. Those are probably my favorite ones. Okay. And again, to me, it's just because of just the time that went into that and seeing it all come together slowly but surely. And when it finally came up to the actual result, I really had to like kind of sit there and be like, yeah, like this is pretty fire. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely appreciated that you got the CIAA in there, and I know definitely, because I know a lot of times the bigger schools will get in there. So that you went to the MEAC. Let's kind of go through some of these real quick. You went through the CIAA, you got to the MEAC. South Carolina State. What do you think about them?
They were pretty easy as well. Now, like I was saying before, like certain brands in Team Builder already have like certain templates you can use. So I didn't have to work as hard as
for the Nike uniforms. You didn't have to work as hard as Under Armour.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So with them, they kind of had things already set in place to where I didn't have to go as hard. So with these, it was just a matter of making sure I had the right font. I could find the right font and put them in the right spots. And so I also kind of have a bias on South Carolina State as well because my cousin played wide receiver for South Carolina State and he was number 9. So I wanted to make sure that was a little nod to him. Shout out to Wolverine. So that was a nod to him. Same thing with Norfolk State. They had again, they already had the kind of the aesthetic. I had to add my own layers on here as far as the pant stripe and the side colors with the yellow. But it's just one of those situations where it's like once you get the ball rolling, it kind of starts like snowballing and you start kind of getting your feel for you start feeling your groove. So
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right, so we got those two. Then we get up to the reigning MEAC champions, Howard. Now, tell me, there was a story behind Howard that was there was something with Howard. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so that was the first situation to where I was making a team, and when I was typing in their name, it said that I couldn't use their name. So I was trying to type in Howard Bison, and TeamBuilder wouldn't let me input that in. It said it was a name that was already I guess in your system. So to me, that was kind of just an indicator as to either it was going to be either A, is it legal for me to use it, just in general, or B, there might be a DLC coming in the future where they're going to insert Howard University as well as other schools in the upcoming future or whatever. So I'm choosing to be optimistic and going with the latter, and just saying that they're going to insert them in the game at some point, hopefully before the season starts. But even if that isn't the case, my contributions already been put in the game, as is. So after that, I've been seeing a lot more pushback on just inserting names how I want. So I had to get kind of creative with this one and just put like Howard Bisons just to put get it through the system, which is like, I'm kind of like no one says bisons the same way no one says, well, you're not supposed to say fishes. I say fishes,
right?
But same difference. So it's like, man, like bison is plural, supposed to be, but
right.
That's neither here nor there. But yeah, that was pretty much what that was kind of like the speed bump that I had to go across with that. And also the fact that I know for a fact that Howard is branded by Jordan. So I had some saying, like, it's not Nike. I'm like, I know, man, like, but I can only work with what I can work with. So you got to bear with me. So again, just another sacrifice.
Yeah, man. I just happened to notice that there. I was like, oh yeah, they are Jordan, but I never saw a Jordan option. So then we get to another Maroon school. What do you know? North Carolina Central. Shout out to the folks over there in Durham. NCCU, Nike, Maroon. Another one that's kind of, where would you rate this on a scale of difficulty or time consuming, or and then also talk to me about the stadiums too, because like, the stadiums it's a tough option. It used to be you could take and like build like a custom generic type of stadium. Right. Maybe I think they're going to do a patch, so maybe at some point maybe they'll change that. But just talk to me about that, because I
hope so. I know, like back in the old like NCAA games, even some old Madden games, you had an opportunity to make your own stadium like from the ground up, and I wish they had that. So that's also another challenge, because some people they gave me a hard time about building some of these schools, and they say, well, good and well, why are you going to put Fayetteville State in Duke Stadium? First of all, they're not going to draw a crowd of 60,000 people. I'm like, first of all, like, I'm just doing it because it's the closest colors I can do. That's the first thing I look at. It's like, what has the closest colors to where it won't clash? Because I know with me playing with teams like that, like, the challenge is trying to find stadiums that can be branded as the school you're playing with, but in college football 25, it's hard to do that because no matter where I put a school at that I create, you're going to see some kind of remnants of, okay, you put these in Georgia State Stadium because it clearly says Georgia State on the top of the marquee right here, or you see Pitt like on the top of the scoreboard right here. So it's like you got to pretend not to see those things. But I take just as much pride in making stadiums or fields rather authentic as their counterparts with the uniforms. NC Central's wasn't really that difficult either to do at all. The most difficult part about this one was I'm kind of cringing looking at the last two frames you just pulled up because of the accessory colors, which is still another issue that EA has to fix as well, because they have it to where if you pick a color for the schools and you go to the accessories appear lighter than what it should be. So that's the reason why you see them wearing like pink sleeves and pink gloves and pink socks and shoes. It's not because we're sympathetic to the breast cancer cause, which we all should be, but it's EA's doing.
There's no benevolent reason why there is.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the biggest challenge with this one, is trying to figure out how to get it to where everything, as far as colors are concerned, are matched up. But to your point again, that's an issue with maroon. Maroon comes out as pink on the game for whatever reason. So I don't know what that's about. Hopefully EA jumps on that ASAP.
So the game hates maroon too.
That's the way I see it. See, that makes sense to me too.
Yeah, appreciate everybody for hanging in on the chat. Please make sure you guys hit the like button, and if you haven't, make sure you download Marlu's teams, as well as make sure you follow him you're on Twitch. Where do you stream at?
I do stream on Twitch. Yes. Same name, no underscore. It's underscore. So it's just like it's shown on the Twitter handle. It's the same thing on Twitch as well. Gotcha.
We go to Morgan State. Now, Morgan State looks like it might have taken some time on this stripe right here on the pants. Am I wrong?
Yes, you are correct. Another one that I had to really sit back and marvel at once I finished it up, because it was also a challenge. And let me give you a shout out as well, honestly, because I'll be real with you. Anytime that I need some kind of assistance, or I got to reference some kind of design or whatever, the first place that I go, HBCU game day. Like that's real. That's real. Like I go there because I know your content, I know your media personnel, everything over there is just so clean. So it gives me a much better canvas to look at. If I can't completely just like find something off there, I can at least like look at that and say, okay, maybe I didn't do this the correct way after all, because I see this, so I'm going to go ahead and correct it from this. So I refer to game day like a whole lot doing these. So
appreciate that, man.
Shout out to you as well. I want to give you your flowers, right here live. So the stripes was definitely the most challenging part on this particular uniform. And once I got it, I was definitely excited that I had figured it out. And they actually had the same exact stripe design when I was doing the it's another maroon school, but I don't want to get it wrong though. I want to say it's either
Texas Southern, maybe.
it was either it's actually on the sleeve. I can't think right now, but it's either Alabama A&M or it's
probably A&M, probably
Texas
A&M.
Southern. One of the two.
So
I know it's the away jersey.
Texas Southern also was Under Armour, just like Morgan State is Under Armour. So, but yeah, as we get into the,
because I thought it was an exclusive like design just for Morgan State. Honestly, when I first started off, but again, like this is all educational to me as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Is you put up the entire SWAC here on 12 teams there, so we won't go through everybody, but any standouts, anything from creating these SWAC teams that stood out to you, or which ones were the most fun? The Bethune-Cookman ones kind of, they're known for their uniforms, and I think there's some nice detail there.
Yep, Bethune-Cookman was fun to do. Definitely Jackson State, they just have a whole plethora of things to choose from on that end. And then but I think my favorite one that I figured out that I kind of had like an aha moment with was Arkansas Pine Bluff. Just the and particularly the sleeves. When I figured that out and made sure it connected with the side portion of it, it kind of gave me reminiscence of like Denver Broncos-esque sleeves with I guess I could say the old Denver Broncos, because they have a uniform change as well, to my understanding, this upcoming season. But just I like being able to solve issues like this on here, and then knowing that unless you like really are dedicated to figuring it out, no other user will come up with that particular idea unless they take time to do it. And I guess that kind of goes back into my whole philosophy with the black uniform thing. Same difference with designs like this. It's like you really got to kind of like study and figure it out in order for it to work out. And that was definitely the case with that uniform. I think as far as my favorite though, out of the SWAC, I probably would have to go with I don't know. I think Southern just does it for me. I don't know if it's just the color scheme, which I kind of always been a fan of anyway, even before doing any of this. But I feel like just after I was finished with this school, I was like, yeah, like I want to see somebody try to top that one.
I hear you. Yeah, man, that's these are sweet. These are sweet. Some of Under Armour's best work. Who was your favorite in the MEAC? I got to get that out of you.
MEAC. I would probably have to say probably either I don't know.
Fresh from memory. There we go. I kind, you know what? They lose everything else, but I kind of got to give it to Delaware State, man.
I would say Delaware State. That was different, honestly. Like that was definitely against the grain.
And they look good in person too. They really look good. I'm serious. I'm probably gonna get trampled the next time I see them, but they look good in person.
Yeah, Delaware State. It's definitely I would say it stands out between all the rest of the schools. I would definitely give them that. And I like when I was researching them, I found they have like a pretty fresh logo as well. As opposed, I mean, all their logos are actually pretty dope to me. But just being bold with their color choices, especially the one I have pictured here with the majority of the blue. Those definitely look very very pleasing from a standpoint, just like looking at them like perform on the field. I think overall the overall set, I kind of have to tend to agree with you on there. Like I like them as well. Again, I'm not trying to have a bias towards South Carolina State, so I'm leaving them out. But if I have to pick one, I'll go with Delaware State as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty clean looks in the MEAC. There's a lot of pretty clean looks in the MEAC. All right, what's your least favorite? Okay, let me not get you in trouble. Yeah, I live in the fire, but everybody don't want to do that. So, I see you did go ahead and give a nod to our friends over in Raleigh, Oakwood Avenue, I think. I don't want to get them wrong. St. Aug, they're not playing football this year. But you did go ahead and put them in the game. and gave him a throwback helmet.
Yes.
What a guy. There you go, man. Yeah, man. Just I love it. As we wrap this up, because I know you got things to do. I'm sure you probably want to eat dinner and all that good stuff. I know you're now working on the SIAC.
Yes.
Well, let's give Bethune Cookman a little bit of love. Yeah, man. I like this. I like this work right here. I like this work right here.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. We got over in the SIC. I see you did do Edward Waters early. Another Nike. So SIC is Nike as well. Pretty. Rate this as far as your difficulty there.
That was the first jersey that I did where the sleeves were inverted. So rather than them going horizontally, they went vertically, but it had a little like rotation like angle to it. Those outside of that and the stripes on the bottom of the pants, they were pretty cut and dry as far as the look goes. I will say though, like these are actually one of my most favorite schools that I've done as well. I think just because of the colors and how it just stood out from a home crowd standpoint. They were pretty fun to make as well. And I think that was the first one that I've done for the or was it Savannah State? I can't remember which one. But yeah, those are fun to do as well. And I'll probably give that on average maybe like a 6 that I've done that as far as difficulty goes. Those are another school that was pretty fun to do as well. I like creating schools or like building on schools that dares to be different as far as like color schemes and color choices. The Valley, that's also another school as well that I had a fun time making as well. I usually have fun doing schools in general, but those especially.
Yeah, man. I love the cherry apple helmets, man. I got a chance to see them in real life last year, and they're definitely bold.
Yes, another chrome look on that school as well. So big fan of that.
Yeah, man. And then as we'll see, you got Albany State, who I understand yesterday it looks as though they have also decided they wanted more. They wanted to push you to do more work. Man. Looks like Albany State has revealed a new uniform. I only saw the photos from far away from Coach. Shout out to head coach Quinn Gray, but yeah, another school that decided, hey, we're just gonna let Marlu do number one and then come up with it. So
and funny enough, when I finished these, because this was another one that I was really paying attention to, like the accents. So with these, I know they didn't have a yellow jersey. Funny enough, now when you look at the most recent pictures that are going viral for their uniforms, they are coming out with a yellow alternative uniform or jersey rather. And so that was kind of just me trying to go into my bag and say, okay, I have enough layers to make a third uniform. What can I do? And so I went and did some Google searches and went with a throwback look, which again, going back to Livingstone, I was a fan of them having the name in the back of the nameplate there. And then also giving a nod to one of their players that recently passed, number 57. So I felt like that was a nice touch. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like they're definitely going to appreciate, that ode, that nod to them. And then, like you said yesterday, like they come out with fresh jerseys. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I actually have them on the shelf right now. I had someone a few hours ago ask me, it was like, we know you made the team, but we can't pull them up on the database. What's up? And I'm like, well, I'm waiting to see what more information I can get as far as a better look at the jersey. So the sooner I can get that information and the sooner I can get them back on there so it can be available for download.
Yeah, I might have a plug for that one. Let me see if I can get that working.
Say less.
Also in the SIAC, we got Allen University, over in Columbia, and then I see you got Benedict, as you talked about a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
And I see people in the comments asking where the purple helmets. The public is grateful, but never never not looking for more. Uh,
Mhm. And I
yeah,
and truth be told, I welcome that because again, like this is all from a place of just. I mean, I tend to look at it from an optimistic point of view. I look at it from like not a place of like they're being haters or they're trying like to give me negative critique, which I'm pretty solid in my abilities as far as like creating things like that. But I'm never um not subject to criticism in any stretch or any kind of help, whatever the case may be. So I'm always looking for something to where I can get better at in that regard. And if I can do it for the people, I'm more than willing and more than happy to do it. But also at the same time, it's like I can only do what I can do. So
right.
kind of live with the consequences from that regard. So
Yeah, I am starting the campaign for them to make you a consultant on the 2026 game. No, seriously, they got consultants. They need to make sure the brothers are represented because we are out there
mhm,
playing the game for sure. I see what you're talking about with FAMU. Yeah, no shortage of FAMU for sure.
mhm.
Um,
Everybody and their mama was making those. So I was like, I saved them for last because I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. And also, I
mhm,
want to say this too. Like, it was a stretch. It was a period to where I was only going to do like a handful of teams in the SWAC. Because also along with me doing my own research, trying to figure out like how uniforms look and things of that nature. I always go like to their social media platforms, whether it be on Twitter or be on Instagram,
mhm,
and I see they have like actual like students or alumni or people that's on the coaching staff, like they had made schools
mhm.
prior to me like doing it myself. And so I'm always trying to not like, you know,
Yeah,
step on anyone's toes in that regard. But also at the same time, I have people that follow me that say, they're asking me like for my take on the schools. And so again, it was one of those things where I said, okay, well, I already had made like half of the conference. I might as well keep going, so that way they can all have one place to look or they see all their schools in one spot whenever they type my name in. Um, Same thing with Jackson State. Like there's a whole bunch of just as much creations for Jackson
yeah,
State as it was FAMU. And so what I said I would do in order to make mine stand out was the field. I feel like if people take the time and the effort, they can get the uniforms right. But I feel like my stamp is also with the fields as well. And just putting time in to make sure they're as authentic as they can be. And so that's just another way of them like just me paying homage to the culture for each school that I'm trying to represent on the game.
yeah, man. As we finish up with Marlu Tha Kang, who's been more than courteous with his time here. As he continues to do HBCUs, another Maroon school, Alabama A&M. Um, yeah, man. Just final thoughts. What's next for you? What's next? What's the next team that's coming out? I know someone asked about Tuskegee. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how is that in the works, or where's what how? And I know the SIC is a pretty big league. So
Yeah.
where are you with SIC?
So I'm literally was just going based off the order that I've seen on the conference website. So I've already completed I completed Albany State. Well, that's still in the works, but it's basically done.
Yeah,
Um,
until they flip the script on you, but yeah.
right. I completed Allen. I just did Benedict last night, and so right now, tonight I'm going to try to complete Central State, and then I'm going to go ahead and try my hand out with I want to say, is it Virginia Union? Not Virginia Union. Virginia.
VUL.
Is it? Yeah. Yep. So I'm just going down the line as
The
far as
Mystic Dragons of
it was
Virginia
Clark
University
Atlanta.
of Lynchburg.
I'm sorry, Clark Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay.
That was gonna be the next one.
Okay.
So today's what, Wednesday? So if I play my cards right, because I'm trying to remember, I have, let me see, I already did 1, 2, 3, working on the fourth one tonight. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think I have like 10 or 11 more schools left to go because it is a big conference. And so hopefully by this time next week, I should be done with everything. This weekend will be the big indicator, weather permitting as well too. So if the weather cooperates,
it leaves the lights on, yes.
Yeah, if the power's still on, then I'm gonna keep working. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. I know folks were asking about that school over in Greensboro, North Carolina, A&T. They I know they were asking about you on there, but I know you were directing them somewhere there.
Yeah.
But I guess at some point you'll touch A&T as well.
Yes, sir. Yep. And I wish I remember his name right off the top of my head. I know he goes by like it's 3 syllables or 3 letters or something like that. But I had reposted him on my page. So if you go and check my page out and and search for A&T, he did a really good job and really rendition. So I always try to give credit when credit's due. Whenever I see something on social media that I feel like that I really can't like contribute more to, and I just feel like it's just straight, it's perfect. There's nothing else I can really do aside from like a throwback maybe. I direct people to them, and that's kind of like my philosophy anyway. Like if I can help anyone out and I don't have the resources or I don't have the answer, I can always point and say, well, this person, you can check them out and see what they got to go on. Because I'm all about trying to spread, just spread as much content as as I can, and making sure that people get their flowers whenever too. So because again, like I'm doing this from, I know what my abilities are, but I'm also a fan, just like everyone else is a fan. So
yeah, no doubt. So you're doing all this modding and stuff. Do you get a chance to actually play the game?
I touched the game like as far as gameplay like 2 days ago. I played Road to Glory, and I need to start paying attention to what I'm doing because I think I'm about to fail and lose my spot. I didn't know like how intricate it was. I was like, dang, I gotta make sure that my body is healthy, but I also gotta make sure I study and get my head in the books, keep a GPA high enough, and I gotta fight for a position.
Head in them books and off them gals.
Right. So I'm making sure that everything is good with that. But as far as playing like an actual like head-to-head game, I haven't done so yet. Again, weather permitting, and if I can find some time, I have a few friends that has a online league that they started, and so I want to make sure I try to get my hands in that as well. Insert an HBCU in there, Fayetteville State, and make sure I go ahead and get going because along with me making content for people to enjoy, I also want to make sure that I have my competitive edge isn't lackluster as well. Because once I get a few days under my belt, come one of y'all, you come find me. I'll be ready.
Yeah, man. As we close up, my guy Alonzo says, "Got you fight for your academic life out here in these social media streets."
Man, for real, for real. I'm like, it's so much, man. I just want to play the game. I gotta go ahead and study, and they ask me questions about routes. And
Marlu said, "Ain't nobody come to play school." I forgot that quarterback from Ohio State.
Man,
he said, "Ain't nobody come to play school."
My gosh, man. Facts.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate everybody that's hopped on this. It was impromptu, and so we knew we were gonna have the conversation, but just decided to let you guys hop on live and be a part of it. If you're catching the replay, please, guys, make sure that you follow on Marlu. I'll be putting his stuff in the description as well. But also make sure you guys, continue to follow him and everything. Anything else you want to plug before we go ahead and end this thing? Again, I appreciate you so much for your time and everything that you're doing for the culture and for those of us who play the games and everything like that. We definitely appreciate it.
I mean, really just again, Steven, man, I just want to thank you for, first of all, having me out here. I don't take, like I was telling somebody before, I don't take any of these opportunities I have for granted at all. I try to be as centered as I can be. I try to be as respectful as I can be in regards to just like knowing like what I'm representing and who I'm trying to represent, and making sure that I'm promoting HBCUs and the teams in a positive light. And just, it's just a big education on my part. I feel like I'm doing people a service by making sure that I be as real and authentic and basically transparent as I can be. So I just want to give a shout out to you. Want to give a shout out to the rest of the creators out there that's trying to, just to spread, spread content, just like me. I just want to thank everybody for even just, giving me encouragement as well, and giving me nods for me knowing to keep going and keep pushing, and I'm doing a good job. So thank y'all.
Yeah. And I can't get you out without asking this. So, Bordeo, the infamous streamer who did the college football rebuilds, I believe, was it your Delaware State that he chose as his HBCU rebuild?
Yes.
How was that? How exciting was that? I mean, obviously he's a big name in these streets. So
it was just kind of, it was first of all, I was like, I didn't even peep it until someone pointed that out to me in the DM, was like, yo, isn't that your content? Isn't that your team? I'm like, yeah, it sure is my team, man. That's what's crazy about it. Like, so like I said, like I just pretty much just put the content out there, and then hopefully, just spreads to whoever. I'll be honest with you. I mean this in the most like humbling, most humble way as I can say it. Like, I really never been one to kind of like just been put myself out there like that. Like, I just let my work speak for itself. And if I just so happen to get mentioned, like in situations or opportunities like this, I consider it a blessing. With him, I just kind of see it from the outside looking in. Like, a lot of people didn't even know that Delaware State existed. It was a real place,
right,
let alone a team. So just seeing them, I kind of just insert myself, a few times, just kind of like plugging them in. But it's been fun kind of seeing them kind of like do their own type of research and just having fun with it. And at the same time, it opens the doors to another kind of like a rabbit hole as to saying like, well, there's more HBCUs out there that you may not have heard of before. And this is the history, and this is what they've been going through as far as our football program is concerned. So it's always been a treat, seeing it from that aspect. And, I feel like, we need that, the bigger names that's pushing the culture forward, even through just casual gameplay. I think all of it matters. So it's been really cool, really dope to see.
No doubt about it. Well, he is Marlu Tha Kang. I'm SJG. You're watching HBCU Game Day. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys check out all his content. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.